Hi, Misha here, and Good Friday this year, the Friday before Easter, was just wonderful weather here. 60, 65 degrees, maybe 70 in the sun, lots of sun, very little breeze. Couldn't ask for better, which is great because then the weekend just sucked. In fact, we ended up with snow flurries, and nearly a week later it's still damp. Anyway, Jay and I did get to the range, and a gun I had not taken out in quite some time, a gun that I kind of felt like I was neglecting, is my Israeli IWI Tavor. This is the SAR, which is a semi-automatic version of the TAR-21 Tavor assault rifle, 21st century. And this is the TSB-18 variant, which means it has the black furniture set and full-length 18-inch barrel, complete with bayonet lug. This fires 5.56 NATO and feeds from AR-15 mags. And the reason I felt like this has been kind of neglected, in most of our videos, we've talked about my X95 here that I've customized. This is not an SBR, although I did install most of the SBR kit, including thin butt plate. And this is actually standard issue in the Israeli Defense Force, IDF. So even there, the original TAR-21 is kind of superseded. And we have done a few videos comparing the two, and usually I will say that I prefer the X95. But that's not the case with everyone. In fact, my friend Chris Bartacci still prefers the original TAR-21. The ergonomics are different. It's a larger, more curvy gun. And these do seem to have a bit more inherent accuracy. So, not having taken it out in the wild, wanting something to fire that I had not fired in a while, having a good day, we loaded up and took this guy out. Why not? So let's show a bit of that range footage, and then I'll just come back for a little bit of musing and whatnot. There hasn't been a lot as far as new developments go for the TAR-21 or the Tavor SAR. But, hey, we have fun doing retrospective videos, so we hope you do too. Anywho, let's get over to the range. Tavor SAR. Held open. Tavor. No surprise at all, 100% reliability with both brass and steel case. Some bullpups can be ammo sensitive, not the good old Tavor. And this gun has been shot many times. Again, it was just mostly to let it get out and stretch its legs. It wasn't any kind of test. But I usually do find myself bringing my X95 out. I had a lot of fun configuring it. And this really does have a lot of nice modernizations to the design, especially the trigger pack. But even though the original trigger in the SAR, the TAR-21, is pretty horrid, and this is coming from me, who's not very trigger sensitive, Chris did help me out. He gave me a spare Timney trigger. And while I don't think it fixes all of the issues, it does help a lot. You still have kind of a long, spongy pull. Now you can fix that by trading out even more parts, but I do like that the trigger pack pops out very easily. By the way, I put a little mag in this. We were out at the range with the Midwest Industries GAW 5 ASDW, and they came with this kind of neat little 10-round mag for being compact. And I just threw it in the bullpup to see if it fit, and yeah, it fits fine. No trouble at all. The Tavor was kind of the first bullpup since the Steyr AUG to get a lot and sustained attention in the USA. Work in Israel on a 21st century assault rifle started in the 1990s, and by 1995 they pretty much knew that they were going to go with a bullpup. It gave them the range and accuracy, but also they could have the reliability and dependability. The IDF started looking at the design in 2000 and started issuing it for testing alongside the Colt M4 and the very new M4A1 throughout 2001 and into 2002. And in 2003, it was said that the Tavor would be the IDF's next standard issue gun, replacing the M16, the M4, the Car 15, and a few Galils. Ironically, Israel didn't really use the Galil much past the early 1980s, but that's a story for another day. This is the full-length rifle version. It has an 18.1-inch barrel. There was a carbine version known as the CTAR-21, Qatar. It had a 15-inch barrel, so it pretty much ended right here. These could either have a rail or a more integrated optic. This is a Mepro M21, which is one of the most common optics. And where the X95 came from, even from the very beginning, there was going to be a micro Tavor, MTAR, M-T-A-R-21, which had a shortened forearm and 13-inch barrel. Well, a production order was placed for the original TAR-21, and the first production guns were delivered to the IDF in 2006. Now, the standard rank and file, we're going to have the 18-inch gun. Mechanized units, we're going to have the 15, and Special Forces could opt for the micro. Well, as it happens, after a couple of years of evaluation and relatively high production numbers, in 2009, the IDF kind of changed gears and essentially adopted the micro Tavor as its standard issue gun, aka the X95. Now later they would realize maybe a 13-inch barrel as standard wasn't optimal, so in late 2014 they would actually adopt the X95-2 with a kind of intermediate 15-inch barrel. So it had the barrel length of the CTAR-21, but it still had all of the updates of the X95, like the shortened modular handguard, the removable pistol grip, and the X95-2 had the updated, better trigger pack. They even do a 16.5-inch version for DMRs. But again, this isn't really on that. This is on this. So once it was clear that the TAR-21 and even the CTAR-21 would not be the next standard issuance guns, they pretty much ended up in reservist, second line hands, and also sometimes used for sniping or DMR in more of an urban environment. The guns always had good reliability and dependability, but the ergonomics, while not bad, left things to be desired. For example, this cutlass style pistol grip is fixed as part of the stock. You can't pull it off or change it. Although it does have a pretty good storage compartment inside. There's a secondary storage compartment in the butt plate as well. The bolt release back here is a little big and could be accidentally hit. The mag release, I don't mind, this trigger style. I think it's kind of cool. But other people wanted to go to more of an M4 style. I do think the updated trigger of the X95 is a definite improvement, as is the updated modular handguard. They actually have a few different styles they do now. This one, the bottom part is removable, but on the top it's more fixed, so it is more limited. It has the side rail that you can swap to the other side. The X95 actually has hidden rails under these panels, although the original round handguard did not have that. And of course they dropped the bayonet lug. So this is kind of in secondary use. There are still TAR 21s in the IDF, but it's kind of funny that the secondary gun, the Micro Tavor, became, the X95, became the standard. Now this wasn't just made for use in Israel. Oh no. 15, 16 other nations have purchased the Tavor in decent numbers. A couple of them have even purchased production licenses, including India and Ukraine. And the family continues to grow. There are all the 9mm versions. There are specialized sniper versions known as the SAR 21. All kinds of fun stuff. So if I do like shooting the X95 more, why do I still have a Tavor SAR? Seems kind of silly and redundant, maybe. But truly, it's not. Tavor. Helps if I take safety out.
Had a hot casing land directly in the crook of my arm.
Isn't that great when that happens?
Yeah, it's been fantastic.
I had that. For one thing, these guns took so long to get into our hands. Even back in 2013, IWI USA was a little slow and there were multiple delays. So for a lot of people, when they finally got their hands on the SAR, they kind of overlooked shortcomings. They were just thrilled to have it, and it was an iconic Israeli gun. And they came out of the gate pretty strong, offering it with different barrel lengths, black, FDE stocks, eventually green as well, pick rail, or the so-called IDF version. One thing that I didn't like, they only did the IDF version in the 16-inch barrel, so no bayonet lug. I really wish they had done an 18-inch IDF. You could make one if you had all the parts, but it's awfully expensive. But of course, it wasn't long after the SAR came out that people started lording the improvements of the X95. In 2014, 2015, you heard about how the X95 was just head and shoulders better than the TAR 21. So people were very excited for the civilian version to come, which it did in the spring of 2016. Now, the original gun is about 22 inches long with a 13-inch barrel. Obviously, this won't fly with the laws, so not only did they have to go to a 16-inch barrel, they ended up having to put on this kind of silly thick rubber recoil pad to get the overall length past 26 inches. Now my solution here was to permanently attach the flash hider, which gives it a decent overall length. The other way is the thick butt plate, or SBR. But it wasn't long after the X95 came out that people realized the grass isn't always greener on the other side. Accuracy, quote-unquote, issues started to come up. Now, personally, Jay and I feel like 2.5, even verging on 3 MOA is acceptable for a military compact service rifle intended for urban vehicular combat. But anyway, people complained, yada yada, different things. And so, in 2016 through today, kind of a school of thought started to grow up. Again, Chris is one of them. Looking back at the SAR, the TAR 21, saying actually they still preferred the classic gun. I think part of it is the looks. And this is something Jay and I kind of agree on. We like the ergonomics of the X95 more, but we actually like the looks and to some extent the feel of the TAR 21 more. It's just more iconic. Also, these aren't reported to have the accuracy issues of the X95. Routinely doing 1.5 to 2 MOA. Very acceptable for a combat gun. And for some larger people, the overall kind of larger dimensions of the TAR 21 just work better. Even though the X95 is expanded here to be in America, it still is a slimmer gun with the controls more tight in, a little more cramped for some people. Not me, because I'm relatively short, but some people. They're a little more spread out on this gun. So, people started to realize, hey, maybe they had the best Tavor for them, after all, and the X95 just wasn't what they wanted. Just one problem. IWI has discontinued all of the original TAR 21, SAR 21 semi-autos here. 16-inch, 18-inch, FDE, or rail. And that's honestly one reason to keep one. If you sell it, you'll have to buy another one on the used market, so you don't know how it's been treated. And as things that have been discontinued typically do, prices go up steadily over time. Plus, bayonet lug. It is just cool. And they do shoot differently. They do have a lot of parts in common, but they are just different enough that you can kind of excuse having both. I mean, how many people have AR-15s that are very similar except for maybe a different barrel length or whatnot? Or, of course, in the AK world, how many of us have multiple makes of AK-74? So, yeah. These are both high quality, both combat tested guns. And again, the good old trusty Tavor just hasn't been out in a while. And come to think of it, this is 2020. This thing's been around right at 2 decades now. So talk about making you feel old. I mean, this was the new snazzy thing on the block. When this came out, the AUG was 20 years old. So now this today is as old as the AUG was around the turn of the millennium. So it's kind of getting a little bit of a retro cool vibe to it now. Which is okay. That leaves the X95 to be the modern Israeli assault rifle. Which it has been, again, since 2009. And as of about 2018, they pretty much phased out most of their AR-15s and other guns, going to majority Tavors in service, be it the full size or the compact. that's really it. Just some thoughts and retrospection. Haven't done many bullpup videos lately. We'd be curious how many of you prefer the original SAR versus the X95, or vice versa. Let's have a discussion. Everyone's stuck at home, so yeah, let's talk Israeli bullpups. Greatly appreciate you tuning in. If you could, as always, like, share, and subscribe. And if you'd like to help support the channel, please check out the link to our Patreon page. This is Misha, and we'll both catch you very soon next time.